Hello, and thanks for spending a few minutes with Phil. This is a gentleman named Stephen Covey. He wrote a book called First Things First. In his book, he told a story about a professor who got in front of his class one day and got out a big jar. Then he took some big rocks and put them in the big jar, and then he asked this question. He asked, "Is this jar full?" And the student said, "Yeah, it seems full." And he said, "Wait a minute." And he got some gravel. He took the gravel and he poured it inside the jar. And then he said, "Is this jar full?" And they said, I'm not sure. And he said, "Wait a second." And he got some sand and he poured that in the jar, and it went in the places that the gravel and big rocks didn't go. And he said, "Is this jar full?" And they said, "We have no idea." He said, "Wait a minute." So he got some water and he poured the water in, and he said, "Is this jar full?" And then he said, "It is. It's full." And he asked the question, what's the lesson here? What are we trying to learn here? What's the lesson? And one of his students said, well, the lesson here is you can always do more. You can always fit more in your day. You can always add a little bit more. And he said, no. The lesson here is you got to put the big rocks in first. In other words, people need to learn to prioritize. Prioritize. I've seen a lot of people do good things, but not the best thing. Someone has well said that most people exchange the important for the urgent. I said that backwards. Most people exchange the urgent for the important. I think I had it right the first time, really. In other words, people are so busy running around putting out fires in their life that they never really get down to what's important. They never really systemize what's important in their life. And you and I, if you're my age, you'll remember a guy named Harry Chapin. He wrote a song called Cats in the Cradle. You gotta listen to it. You can hear it on YouTube, I'm sure. It's really a story about an absentee father, or absentee dad who has a kid, and he's always off and about, never home for his kid. And one day when his kid grows up, his kid's not there for him. So I found in my life that moms and women are better at prioritizing than men. Go figure. They're just better. They seem to understand what's important more than men do for some reason. Not to bemoan this subject, but I remember many, many years ago in a galaxy far, far away when I was a pastor, believe it or not, when I was a pastor, one of the busiest days of the year, not Christmas, not Easter, but Mother's Day. Mom used to haul the family to church. It was no easy task, but she did it, and they did it for at least once a year. Of course, one of the slowest days of the year was Father's Day. And also, I put Super Bowl Sunday. We might as well close down the church on that day, and let me tell you. Back to prioritizing. What is the most important thing to you in your life? Hey, since we're talking about priorities, let me ask this question. What might God think should be the most important thing in your life? What does God think about it? Jesus was asked about priorities himself. He should know. He was asked in a different way. Someone once said to him, "Lord, what is God's greatest commandment? What's the big one? What's the most important one? What should I prioritize?" And Jesus said, "You need to love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind." And then he said, "I'm not finished. Also, the second commandment is much like it. You need to love your neighbor as yourself." So, how does that work out? Incidentally, I should mention that Matthew, that great apostle, records this wording by Jesus in the 22nd chapter of his gospel. That's verses 37 through 40. So, back to what I was trying to get at.